Embarrassing. That is the only way to describe what we saw out there. Third quarter collapse, tale of two halves. Karl-Anthony Towns getting taken advantage of inside. Do these things sound familiar? They should, because they happened last season too. But the performance that we saw from Karl-Anthony Towns tonight was horrible. It was without a doubt the worst performance he has had in a Knicks jersey. We're going to break down all of these latest reports today. This episode is presented by FanDuel. If you're enjoying the content, please hit that subscribe button and make sure you have notifications turned on so you don't miss any new content. And now, let's get started. Knicks lose second straight game. I legitimately cannot believe what just happened. From being on top of the world in one quarter to getting dominated in another quarter. There was no consistency, and ultimately, that's what led to the Knicks losing this game against the Milwaukee Bucks. As you can see here, final score, 111 to 121. The New York Knicks dropped their second game in a row to the Milwaukee Bucks. And shout out the channel sponsor FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, for giving us this updated information about who was going to win last night's game between the Knicks and the Bucks. And as you see here, FanDuel, Vegas, all of the odd makers, they were slightly favoring the Knicks to beat Milwaukee in this game. And the reason for that is because of the roster New York has. Even though they were missing Mitchell Robinson and a couple of other key players, the roster that they had was more than capable of beating the Milwaukee Bucks. Unfortunately, it did not work out that way for New York. So even though the Knicks were slightly favored to beat the Milwaukee Bucks last night, they could not get the job done. Now, there were a number of reasons why New York lost this game against Milwaukee. But if you look at the quarters, it's a little bit easier to understand. Because honestly, this was a tale of two halves. In that first quarter, New York was playing okay defense, but their shot was not falling. 1 of 10 in that first quarter. And then that second quarter, I don't know what happened, but everything for New York started clicking. The ball movement, it was there. The defense, it was there. But even more than that, the three-point shooting, those three balls, they finally started to fall. And not for just one player. I'm talking about many players. Landry Shamet, he was making them. OG Anunoby, Mikal Bridges, Jalen Brunson, they all were taken off from three. And you love to see it. Even Jordan Clarkson was hitting threes. Josh Hart, the only shot he made all night was a three-pointer. That's how good New York was in that second quarter. The main reason for that was ball movement, and they were playing good team defense. And when you do that, you have a chance to slow down Giannis. And if you can slow down Giannis and stop Milwaukee from really getting off clean shots from three, you have a chance to beat them. And in that second quarter, they beat them down. They dropped 45 points in that second quarter on the Bucks. They were up 12 points going into halftime. And then the third quarter, never be using that phrasing again. Here we are, game 4. And without a doubt, last night in that third quarter, it was an absolute collapse. What happened to the ball movement? You know, all that great ball movement that led to Jalen Brunson getting open, Mikal Bridges getting open, OG Anunoby getting open, everybody having an open look? Why did we go away from that? We scored 45 points on Milwaukee by playing that way. So in the third quarter, the thing to do was to go away from it? No, you don't do that. But unfortunately for New York, that's what they did. They were playing more isolation basketball, and it was more one-and-done passes. Oh, I'm not open. Okay, I'll pass the ball to you. I don't really have a shot, but I'll take it anyways. New York was taking contested shots, and even worse than that, when Jalen Brunson goes to the bench, once again, these non-Jalen Brunson minutes, and we're looking at that third quarter, New York cannot do anything. Why? because Milwaukee, they're playing great defense. But even worse than that, the Greek Freak, who was kind of limited, and I say kind of limited because there's only so much you can do against a player like Giannis. In that third quarter, he took off, and there was nobody that could stop him. OG Anunoby, one of the best two-way players in the NBA. He was dominated last night by Giannis Antetokounmpo. And even if the Knicks wanted to help, like Mikal Bridges trying to help, or even Karl-Anthony Towns sometimes trying to help, it didn't matter. Giannis was locked in. He was focused. He was drawing the defense. He was getting his team open looks. AJ Green open looks. Ryan Rollins open looks. They played Brunson a lot better defensively in the second half than they did in the first half. Milwaukee flipped the script in that third quarter, and the Knicks did not know how to respond. Ball movement, gone. Defensive intensity that they had in that first half, it fell off the planet in that second half. Karl-Anthony Towns, who really wasn't that offensive-minded in the first half, tried to force the action in that third quarter, and he was forcing so many bad shots that it led to fast break opportunities for the Bucks, and they were killing New York in transition because of that. When you're Karl-Anthony Towns and you're driving inside, if you're only looking for contact and you're not looking for quality shots, you're never going to get the bucket that you want. And he was doing that way too often in that third quarter. But don't worry, we're going to talk about Karl-Anthony Towns a little bit later on in the show. Let's go back to these quarters. Back to the fourth quarter now. New York actually makes it a game. They come back into the game in that fourth quarter. They have a lead of 103 to 101 off of Mikal Bridges' steal and a fast break drive. And it's an and one. But then, and of course, Jalen Brunson, in Jalen Brunson fashion, waves it off and returns back into the game. But at that point, it didn't matter. New York's defense, it wasn't there already. Even though New York got back into the game at that point, their defense was non-existent. At times it was there, but it was not consistent. And because it was not consistent, every time the Knicks scored a basket, Milwaukee would score a basket. If you're only looking to Jalen Brunson and Mikal Bridges for offense, you're not going to win. It needs to be a collective effort. Unfortunately, once again, New York cannot hit anything apart from that second quarter. They're struggling from three, struggling from the field. OG Anunoby can't hit anything. Karl-Anthony Towns is struggling. It's really Jalen Brunson, Mikal Bridges, and shout out to Landry Shamet, who came to play last night and finally hit some open three-point shots. You love to see it. Again, a few bright spots, but not many when you lose like that. We spoke about the quarter-to-quarter breakdown. We spoke about the Knicks defense. I think it's time to speak about Karl-Anthony Towns once again. The worst performance from Cat as a Knick, without a doubt. Nobody is telling me nothing different. In that first half, did you guys see anything from Karl-Anthony Towns? Defensively, I really didn't see much. Offensively, I almost saw nothing. Nothing at all. As an all-star, you need to call for the ball more. You need to make yourself a threat. It can't just be Jalen Brunson and Mikal Bridges. And then I think in that third quarter, he understood that. But he didn't play it the right way. Because in that third quarter, when Jalen Brunson goes to the bench, he starts to play so erratic. He can't even back down Kyle Kuzma. He can't ball back again, and he's still trying to back him down. Still trying to do something in the post. And then what happens? He puts up an erratic shot. It doesn't go in. Milwaukee grabs that bucket, and they're racing down the floor. Transition bucket. And once I get to the team stats, you're going to see it again. New York gets dominated in transition by Milwaukee. And that third quarter had a lot to do with it. Karl-Anthony Towns was giving you nothing on defense. He was getting beaten on defense. And then on offense, what was he giving you? 4 shots? Almost nothing? Not contributing anything? Karl-Anthony Towns playing in this way will only hurt New York. I don't know if it's the injury to the quad. I don't know if it's Mike Brown's new system. I don't know if he's upset with his new role, but I have eyes, and I saw him last night. At times, he looks like he doesn't want to be out there. He looks dejected. He looks lost. He looks like he does not like his role. And before the season started, he basically admitted that. Remember, he said, I don't know what my role is in this offense, but we're going to figure it out. We're in game 4. I know it's early, but he is struggling. Since that Cavs game, he has gotten worse and worse and worse. And then last night, it's the worst game of his entire Knicks career. You can't erase that. Shout out to New York basketball on the app X for giving us this following information. Karl-Anthony Towns as the Knicks lose in Milwaukee 121-111 and fall to 2-2 on the season. He had 8 points. He was 2 of 12 shooting, 0 of 3 from 3, 12 rebounds, 3 turnovers, and 5 fouls. And the thing about those fouls, they were so silly fouls. The craziest foul of them all. We have seconds to go in the third quarter, and he makes another silly foul, picks up his 4th foul to close the third, and there are seconds left. You can't do that. That's a horrible foul. We are limited on the bench already with our big man. Ariel Hukporti, he was getting beaten last night, dominated last night. He was not playing well. Karl-Anthony Towns, the exact same thing, but you have to understand, you cannot afford to pick up those type of fouls when we don't have anybody else really to put in the game for you. You have to be smarter than that. He was not smart last night. He was making bad play after bad play after bad play. Then he followed that up with another bad shot. It was just not a good performance from Karl-Anthony Towns. And after the game, he had the following to say about his performance. According to Kat, he stated the following to the media after losing to Milwaukee. I didn't do what we needed. That's on me. Accountability's big in this locker room. I got a new role. Gotta embrace it. I want to stop right there. He says, I got a new role. Gotta embrace it. That means he has not embraced that role. Because if you still gotta embrace it, that means you have not embraced it. And honestly, that quad injury, plus the fact that he does not like his new role and he still has to embrace it, this explains for me why he is looking the way he's looking out there. Because he does not look like he wants to be out there or play out there. And if he's playing a role he does not want to play, it kind of explains it. Let's continue here. Gonna be a tough 2 days. Game 4. I know everyone's gonna be stressing in New York. We are all finding our spots. Teach a old dog new tricks. I'm learning new tricks. He continued and said the following. Shout out to Ian Bagley of SNY for giving us this update as well. According to Karl-Anthony Towns, I got to do whatever is needed to win. I pressed a little bit too much today in the second half. You think? You pressed a little too much? You couldn't back down Kyle Kuzma. You didn't play defense. And even worse than that, you put up shots that had no hope of going in. Why? Because you kept on looking for the contact that was never going to come. I didn't do what we needed to do to win tonight. That's on me, and I take full responsibility for that. If I'm Mike Brown, I am having an entire film day session dedicated to Karl-Anthony Towns and watching film, watching everything he did and didn't do against the Bucks, because that performance is unacceptable and it can never happen again. New York is never going to win the games they want to win, never going to reach the goals they want to reach with Karl-Anthony Towns playing in this way. He needs somebody to have a talk with him, maybe a team meeting. I don't know what needs to happen, but that performance is not acceptable. And anybody in the Knicks locker room cannot accept a performance like that from Karl-Anthony Towns. He needs to be held accountable. He said it as well. If the locker room is big on accountability, then everyone has to make sure they hold Cat accountable for that disaster that we saw last night. Shout out to somebody who did come to play. Jalen Brunson last night, 36 points, 14 of 25 from the field, 1 of 5 from 3. He has to work on that, but as I said, Milwaukee, they played him aggressively in that second half, and it worked a lot. He had 2 steals, though, but he was a minus 11 on the night. Either way, somebody has to send help. Send help for the captain. It cannot be Jalen Brunson, Mikal Bridges, and then mystery number 3, because we never know who that third is going to be. For all purposes, Mikal Bridges has been and still continues to be the most complete player on this Knicks team. Defensively, in terms of rebounding, passing, playmaking, he is scoring aggressively. He is hitting those threes. He is doing everything that the Knicks want from him. And honestly, when you see him out there, he looks like an all-star. Jalen Brunson, he has help with Mikal Bridges, but sometimes he really doesn't have it from anywhere else, or he doesn't know where it's going to come from. Last night, Landry Shamet, he had it going, and we absolutely needed that with no Deuce McBride off the bench. So Shamet, he was clutch, but the offense, it rarely came from anywhere else. And that goes back to consistency. The same thing I mentioned to start off the show. New York needs to be a more consistent team from quarter to quarter, not only with their offense, but clearly with their defense too. Send more help for Jalen Brunson because he needs it. If it's already on this roster, then they have to start performing in the way that we need. It's not only Karl-Anthony Towns, it's OG Anunoby as well. And you can see that on the players' minutes breakdown here. OG Anunoby played 34 minutes, but he was 3 of 11 from the field, 1 of 6 from 3, 6 rebounds, 5 assists, but only 9 points. Anunoby needs to do more. Against the Cleveland Cavaliers, he was the man. So good, so aggressive. We need more of that OG Anunoby. When his shot is not falling from outside, he needs to be aggressive and drive inside. In that second quarter, I thought he was doing that. There is one sequence where it went from Jalen Brunson to OG Anunoby in that second quarter, driving inside. He doesn't have a shot, but he draws the defense. Then he kicks it out to Josh Hart. Then Hart gives it back to Jalen Brunson, who initiated this entire thing to start with. And he gets a clean open look from 3. That right there is Mike Brown offense. But unfortunately, we really don't see it consistently enough. We need to, because that's how New York is going to win. Going back to the breakdown here, 35 minutes for Karl-Anthony Towns. Mikal Bridges played 39 minutes, but he was widely effective. 8 of 16 from the field, 3 of 7 from 3, 11 rebounds, 6 assists, and he had 24 points on the night. Great game for Mikal Bridges. Shamet played 30 minutes. He got the start last night. He was 5 of 11 from the field, 4 of 9 from three-point land, and he had 16 points on the night. You can also throw in an assist. Jalen Brunson played 35 minutes. Diawara played, but only 1 minute, so I don't really count that. Huck Porty played 12 minutes, but he was very ineffective. He could not do anything against the Bucks. He tried to do something against Giannis, but I mean, it's Giannis. Remember, he struggled against Bam and he struggled against Giannis. Both of those players are legit all-stars. Huck Porty is still trying to learn in this game, still trying to understand his minutes and his role on this team. It's unfortunate that he got dominated in the way that he did, but it's also a learning experience. He's going to learn from this, and he is going to get better. But last night, there's a reason he only played so few minutes, because when he was in the game, he really wasn't doing much. And Josh Hart, he played 26 minutes. He was a minus 18 in 26, which is a game low. He had 2 steals. He had 4 assists. He had 4 rebounds. So he is still doing the Josh Hart-like things that you would expect. But the offense, he had 3 points on 1 of 5 shooting. He cannot make a bucket to save his life. His shots all look off. The 1-3 he made from the corner, I'm surprised he made it. I'm sure he's surprised he made it. His footing does not look right. His lift does not look right. The way he shoots does not look right. It's all broken. Speaking about being smart with the basketball, let's talk about the team stats. As I always do, I'm not going to break down each and every team stat, but I am going to highlight the ones that I believe caused the Knicks to lose this game. And like I always do, every single game, shooting 42.4% from the field. This is field goal shooting, and it's at 42%. And then the three-point shooting, 32.5. 32.5. It's horrible. It's horrible. They are missing open threes. They are missing contested threes. They are missing slightly contested threes. It does not matter how they generate them. They are missing them. And I'm not sure why. Is it the fast pace? Are they playing so fast that they're so tired that when they catch the ball, they're not in rhythm? I need to know what's going on because it does not make sense. How do you miss all of these open shots? And the shooters that we have, they're capable shooters. OG Anunoby, Karl-Anthony Towns, they can hit three-pointers. Landry Shamet, Jordan Clarkson, they can hit three-pointers. So why are they missing open threes? It doesn't make sense over the stretch of these last 4 games for the Knicks offense to look as bad as it does. I'm surprised New York is 2-2 right now, given the way their offense has looked over the course of these last few games. New York won on the boards 45-38, which actually should mean New York could have won this game. More second chance opportunities. They had 17 offensive rebounds to the Milwaukee Bucks 4. With that stat alone, New York should have blown Milwaukee off the planet. But because they couldn't make a shot after they got those second chance opportunities, it never mattered. But the final stat that we must look at, that really is why that we must look at, is the reason why New York lost this game. And this stat jumped in the third and fourth quarter because of Giannis, really, but also because of how the Bucks were playing the Knicks. I'm talking about fast break points. 9-21. 21. We let them score 21 fast break points. I can remember almost every single one of them. Giannis going coast to coast, jamming on OG Anunoby, jamming on anybody who's inside the paint, and ones, whatever it was. Cutters down low, Milwaukee finding open shooters in the corners, and they would fake it and drive it. I mean, I could go on and on. And then to close out the game, the fourth quarter, the final 5 minutes or so, sheer dominance. You want to know why? Look at the final score, 111. The New York Knicks had 103 points at around the 6-minute mark. They scored 8 points the rest of the way. No defense, can't get stops, and even the little bit more that you can score, the little bit more that you can do, you're working so hard to get it. If you allow a team to do this to you in transition, if you cannot stop them on defense, and you can't shoot even when you get second chance opportunities, you are forcing the action, allowing them to run in transition, you're losing. And by all accounts, New York, if they cleaned up the offense by even 10%, they win this game. They win this game if they take better quality shots or make the quality shots that were open. When you think about it like that, it's so frustrating. I'm frustrated about the game. I'm frustrated with what I saw last night. So this reaction is about that. I'm not saying the season is over. I give up. I hate this team. I'm not saying any of those things. I believe in New York. I know it's early, and I believe they will figure it out. I know they will. This is part of the growing pains. However, some performances, they cannot be ignored because that is more than growing pains. And Karl-Anthony Towns, his performance, it cannot be ignored. That was the worst thing I have ever seen Karl-Anthony Towns do in a Knicks jersey. It was unacceptable. There is nobody on this planet right now that should be telling me I am going too hard on Karl-Anthony Towns right now. He deserves every single bit of it. Every single bit of it. Not only for his poor offense, but for his poor defense. When you're not doing anything on either side of the ball, you need to be called out. I did it to Yabusele. If I'm not going to do it for each and every single Knicks player, if I'm going to pick favorites, then what am I doing here? I'm not picking favorites. Yabusele did it. I called him out. Karl-Anthony Towns, He's doing it. I am calling him out. Last night, I felt like I got warped back to the past, and I was watching a Knicks team coached by Tom Thibodeau, because at times, that's how it looked, especially when I look at Karl-Anthony Towns getting blown by inside, beaten inside, making some of these silly fouls, and having to sit on the bench, not able to do anything. New York has time right now, since we're so early in the season, to fix all of this and clean it up. But the offensive numbers early are ugly. The performances from Karl-Anthony Towns keep getting worse and worse and worse. If it's your quad, if it's the role, if it's the system, I don't know what it is. But you need to figure it out. You need to figure it out. If you need to rest a week, 2 weeks, a month, take it. Take the rest you need. Do whatever it is that you need to play the basketball that we know you can play, Towns, because what you showed last night, that was not normal Knicks basketball. What we saw from Karl-Anthony Towns even, that's not how he normally plays. I don't know what that was last night. All I know is I never want to see it again. I never want to see a 45-point quarter followed up by a 40-point half. I don't ever want to see a performance like that from a Knicks team again. That is not the way you play Knicks basketball. I thought we were about this new fast pace. I thought we were about ball movement, finding the best open shot and taking those shots. Quality shots, not forcing the offense. I didn't recognize that Knicks team last night. Or if I did, I recognized them in the worst way. They reminded me of the team last year in all of the wrong ways. We need to do better, and we need to do better fast. Thankfully, New York's schedule coming up is very favorable. They should be able to take care of business and go up very big in these games, go on a win streak, and hopefully make this game turn into a bad memory. But what about you guys? What do you think about the Knicks and their very poor performance last night against the Milwaukee Bucks, where they dropped this game 121 to 111? Let me know how you feel about that in the comment section below, guys, because honestly, I would love to hear from you. But that's going to do it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, go ahead and smash that like button, leave a comment below. And of course, guys, please subscribe to the channel. Until next time, Knicks fans, take care of yourself, your families, and each other. Peace and love.